On the most northern and eastern point of the Crownlands, high on top of a rocky prominently overlooking the narrow sea, sits Strongcliffe, ancestral sit of House Crabb. We trace our descent to the first men in the Age of Heroes. Our founder, Clarence Crabb, was a towering giant of a man, reaching 2.5 meters in height and with muscles larger than 5 ordinary men and a strength to rival 10 bulls. He travelled from the now shattered stepstones of the south and conquered their way alongside other ancient houses. Our ancestors moved to the area now known as Cracklaw Point, and specifically the end point of the peninsula. Here where our ancestors, understanding the significant defensive capabilities of the area and the strategic vantage point overlooking the sea, decided to settle. They took notice of the prominent number of crabs in the area and decided to take them as their sigil and name. When the Andals invaded, they did attempt to subjugate us, yet they knew not who they were fighting. While the other noble houses fell to them, we stood strong. Like our far relatives in the north, the blood of the first men still runs thick in our veins, and we successfully repelled all attempts of the Andals to subjugate us. They understood that in the end what they could not conquer with sword, they conquered with marriages, and the faith of the Seven spread and dominate the peninsula since then. Yet we were free and independent. Until the dragons came, it was Queen Visenya that came for us. Having heard of the burning of Harrenhal, my ancestor Desmond Crabb, alongside with all the other houses of the Crack, quickly swore their allegiance to the Queen. Because we surrendered peacefully, we were allowed to keep our holdings. Since then, the Targaryen mercy and justice to us has not been forgotten. Though our house started small and irrelevant, we are still able to claim our small slices of glory throughout the history, especially during the years after Aegon's conquest. Legends like Clement Crabb, a Kingsguard and one of the most famous jousters. 30 lances he and his opponent Sir Ryam Redwine broke. It is often called the finest display of jousting in the history of Westeros. But no Crabb in recent and perhaps ancient history has achieved so much as my father, Renifer Crabb the Stalwart. During Robert's Rebellion, or the Fool's Rebellion, my father rode to King's Landing to assist the king. Though at that time we had few men and coin to provide for the royal cause, Lord Renifer was a masterful tactician and strategist. Few could compare to his martial prowess, as it would also later be confirmed by the king himself. In 3 battles he led the king's army against Robert himself. Though many heroes died in those battles like the Prince Rhaegar, all those battles ended in victory. The rebellion was soon crashed, and a few years of peace followed until a new rebellion from another house was started, but that was also crushed with Lord Renifer at the helm of the armies. Later King Aerys II of his name named my father as Master at Arms. Alongside the Lord Paramount's mace, Doran, Tywin and Roose, a lone Crabb stood. But what about of our lands, of Cracklaw? Lord Renifer understood that if House Crabb was to become an important player in the continent, it had to expand. The Cracklaw Peninsula had to be united by him, before some outside force dared to lay their claws to our lands. One by one the houses fell, House Hardy, Brune, Bush, Boggs and others. This task was done quicker than expected with the dear assistance of the faithful allies that my father found in the ancient house of Velaryons. Some houses were allowed to keep some of their titles, others were exiled and removed. And finally I find myself rulling a high lordship. Serving King Aerys has not always been easy. My father never forgot the oaths to House Targaryen, and many times that loyalty was tested. My father worked with other lords on plans to make sure the Targaryen line did not fall under the threat of usurpers and rebels. And now we find ourselves with a new king, King Valar first of his name, a kingship that has caused a rift in the realm. It is clear that there are lords who support the son of Rhaegar. The players for the new dance are already preparing. We will see what the future holds. Truly, we have grown in importance, for now other lords come to our castle of Strongcliffs to ask for our favor. Yet I must not blind myself, for I am not the mightiest lord and must remember the teaching of my father. I will try to rule justly and fairly. For the glory of our house, our words, our pincers' reach have never rung truer than today.